So meanwhile, the right wing has apparently their answer to the 99% movement, and this is so sad. Erick Erickson apparently is the guy who came up with this. He's calling it, we are the 53%. This is the reference to the 53% of Americans they claim pay federal income taxes, and they're saying basically, oh, the rest are freeloaders. Of course, they're not counting all the other taxes, including payroll tax, which is a huge chunk of income for the lower brackets and the middle brackets. They're not counting the sales tax. They're not counting every other kind of tax. But they're like, oh, only 53% pay, and the rest are bums. I get it. That's your clever way that you think you are carrying society. Oh, please. So Erick Erickson started this by putting up his own picture. There he is. And look at this sign that he came up with. He says, I work 3 jobs. Let's pause there for a second. You know the 3 jobs he works? One of them is apparently starting Tumblrs on the internet. Another one is as a CNN analyst. Whoa, are you okay, big guy? Every once in a while, you got to go down to a studio and yell at poor people. What a job you got. You work 3 jobs. I admire you, Eric. And he continues, I have a house I can't sell. Well, that's interesting. Is it because you did a mortgage, you got tricked into a mortgage by your local bank, or are you an idiot and you just bought a house that was worth too much money? Which one is it, Eric? Are you stupid or did you get tricked? Which one? I'll assume since you're not blaming the banks or you're the person who financed it, you were just stupid and you didn't know how to buy the right house. He says, my family insurance costs are outrageous. Yes, because that's the private market that you so love and cherish. Why don't you just pay it willingly? Shut up about it. Here's all my money. Private health insurance. I love it. I've been trying to support you all this time on television as a CNN analyst. Great. You should enjoy it then. He says, but I don't blame Wall Street. Suck it up, you whiners. I'm the 53% subsidizing you so you can hang out on Wall Street and complain. Yeah, you're subsidizing us. Now, he got a bunch of other people, including this blogger who's now running it, Mike Wilson, saying that you should not be blaming Wall Street. And all these people are now putting up these signs. Let me read you just 2 of them. One says, I'm a former Marine. I work 2 jobs. I don't have health insurance. I worked 60 to 70 hours a week for 8 years to pay my way through college. I haven't had 4 consecutive days off in 4 years, but I don't blame Wall Street. Suck it up, you whiners. I'm the 53%. God bless USA. Look, let me ask you something, okay, Mr. Former Marine. Don't you think that you should have an equal shot? Just not an equal pay, but not equal results, but an equal opportunity to become rich, right? Like everybody's, we're not against the rich. We're just looking for equal opportunity. So how would that work, for example? The way it would work is if you qualified, you would get a free education under one of the proposals that we have, right? And in which case you wouldn't be saddled with so much college debt that you don't have a hope and that you're working 60 to 70 hours a week and you're still crushed by your financial debts. Wouldn't that be an amazing way to go? And how would we do that? It's not by being, punitive. It's not by going, it's saying, hey, listen, for example, one thing we could do is a financial transaction tax, which would tax a tiny percentage, not even 1%, far less than 1% of the transactions that Wall Street does. It would lower speculation so that the economy doesn't blow up, and it would provide funding for free education so you could be as rich as them, because we believe in you. But instead, you've got these schmucks like Erick Erickson who've convinced you, charge me more. I don't want an equal opportunity. I want to work 60 to 70 hours a week and still not be able to get beyond my debt burden. How does that make any sense? We're trying to help you, and not by giving you an unfair advantage, by giving you at least an opportunity, a fair chance. Look, here's a second sign somebody put up. My right arm became paralyzed in an accident in 1978. I could no longer be a chef. I re-educated myself, got off welfare and food stamps. It wasn't easy, but nothing worthwhile is. I'm now a small business owner and landlord. I am the 53%. I am the American dream. And apparently he has some sort of chef reference at baked flounder. Okay, God bless. Look, I love that you worked hard. I love it. But look at what you just said. The government gave you an opportunity to get to that point. You took food stamps and you took welfare when you were down and out. And it turns out when we believed in you, when the rest of us chipped in and helped you, at that moment when you needed it, it turns out we were right in believing in you. Because it turns out you became a small business owner and lived the American dream. But that's what we're saying, that you should have that shot. Instead, they've got you making signs saying that other people shouldn't get the same opportunity you got. They shouldn't get food stamps. They shouldn't get welfare, even in their worst possible situation. How does that make sense? We all have to work together so that we can all have an opportunity at the American dream. That's what we're saying. And people like Erick Erickson are using you to have you go in the opposite direction so that the rich and the top don't pay their fair share of taxes, so they pay 15% in taxes when you're paying so much more as a small business owner. How does that make sense? And why do you want to help them have that unfair advantage, which is hurting all of us? It doesn't make sense. Please look into the reality.